So 2025 promises to be a pretty scary year, and my way of coping with that is I'm going way back into retro games when times were simpler. I'm talking about my favorite games from, at this point, 2 decades ago. I'm talking about early 2000s, PlayStation 2, GameCube era fighters. That is the form that my anxiety has taken. And one of my early 2000s were a golden age of console fighting games. They really were. The games from this period were 3D. You could strafe. There were different styles. You could transform. I play modern fighting games. I play Street Fighter 6. I play the new Tekken. I play, the new Mortal Kombats are so bad. And I say that I used to be the biggest Mortal Kombat fan. And then, like, all the DLC characters and the freemium bullshit, it's just really intolerable, these days. But that's a different rant. I'll talk about that another time. I'm here today to talk about Bloody Roar Primal Fury. That's the English name. In Japan, it was known as Bloody Roar Extreme, and I am not kidding. This game was formative. It's really incredible that I did not turn out to be a furry from this game, because the character designs are so good, and the gimmick here. So around this time in the early 2000s, there was like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, there was Mortal Kombat Deception, were big fighting games, and they had a system where you would have 2 different fighting styles and then also a weapon, so you could really like mix up and switch between fighting styles, really keep it dynamic. That's another thing you don't see anymore too often, where you can like switch from martial arts to a weapon or something. The gimmick in the Bloody Roar series is there are zoanthropes, people who can just transform into a spirit animal, basically. And it really creates a gameplay experience that's not like many other games. So just for starters, as soon as you boot this game, one thing that you're going to notice, genuinely a beautiful anime has been written for each of these fighting characters, and it really has like it has some good like Street Fighter vibes where you're traveling all over the world. It has some good Mortal Kombat vibes where like you really feel like you're fighting for the fate of the universe. The whole governments and shadow organizations, everyone's involved, and like you really feel like you're doing something important, which you don't really get as much of a sense from like Street Fighter, for example, necessarily. Argue in the comments if you'd like. But really like a beautiful anime, and this really left an impression on me as a young teenager, because this honestly might have been one of my first exposures to like anime style media, where I was compelled by the plot and I wanted to know what was going to happen next. All right, let's talk about some of these characters, because some of the characters and their beast forms are really what makes this special. And seriously, I would say along with the great anime and the good fighting mechanics, I would say the main thing that this has going for it and really kept it in my memory for 20 years was the character design. You've got every character is a human, but they kind of have like it's like a anthropomorphic design artist's dream, because the prompt was make 16 humans who kind of look like an animal. Their features kind of are evocative of some animal, and then they transform into that animal. Kawaii characters. You've got Alice the Rabbit. You've got Yuriko the Half Beast, which I think that's she seems to be a Kate Sith, which is I believe specifically a Japanese thing, but it's basically a cat girl, and they translate that. This is again early 2000s, so they translate that as Half Beast. But so you got Alice the Bunny, you got Yuriko that Half Beast, you got Jenny the Bat, who is also on a lot of the marketing. It's honestly a little bit almost plagiaristic of Rouge the Bat, because she's just a cool, collected, slightly seductive bat lady. But it's not all cutesy, don't worry. You've got the duelists. You have Long the Tiger and Shenlong the Tiger. Now I know what you're thinking, that's 2 tigers, but they pull it off. Long is very nerdy, he's very studious, and Shenlong is very brash, so they're kind of like character foils of each other. You've got Bakuryu, he's like a mole ninja. It's very interesting, and again, they take like traits where you wouldn't think a mole would make sense as a ninja, but it works. There's some that, there's a cyborg robot fighter, who's also a mole. Actually, you know what, now as I look back at this, they do lean on a few animals more than others. You got Stun the Insect. Oh, how could I forget? My main back, again, I was like a young teenager. My main back when this was a new game was Busujima. And I remember even, in the 20 years in between, I always remembered Busujima. His character really looks like a chameleon, which is what he transforms into. And he had a really easy to spam combo where he would shout his own name. So it was a punch combo that was really easy to execute. And he would announce, Busujima! Pow! And he would say pow on the last punch. And each of those syllables would be a punch. So that's burned into my brain and continued to be for 20 years. He's very fun. He's kind of a comic relief character. And I would say, again, honestly, I think in a lot of the marketing, he is used as one of the better character designs. And he deserves it, because he really looks like a chameleon. It's a very, very iconic and memorable character, in my opinion. But so yeah, that's all. I'm enjoying, I'm back in time. I'm 20 years ago, and life is simple and good. I'm playing a lot of like I said, Mortal Kombat Deception, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I'm sorry if you're not interested, but I am probably going to do a video about both of those, similar to this one, where I just talk about how warm it makes me feel to remember a time when games, when games were really just kind of simpler, but really catered to the audience a lot more, I would argue. It was before freemium, before gacha, before a lot of things. So the game is a self-enclosed thing, and it's either quality or not. In this case, there's a lot of games I remember that are really quality and are worth revisiting. So I hope people appreciate this series, enjoy it as much as I do, and I will be in touch with more retro game news. What's the opposite? With more retro game olds. In the next one.